You're very welcome to the Irish Political Roundup County Councillors Caucus Roundtable with me, Paul Brophy. Unfortunately, my colleague Roisin Cllr can't join us this evening, but we're talking with our county councillors, the forgotten powerhouse of the Irish political system. All politics starts at grassroots within our communities. Joining us on episode 3 of the Councillors Caucus here on the Irish Political Roundup, we're delighted to be joined by Councillor Michael Sheehan, who's an independent councillor on Wexford County Council, who has been an elected representative for 26 years, and we can credit you, Michael, for coming up with the title County Councillors Caucus. Also joining us this evening is Councillor John Leahy, who is an independent councillor on Offaly County Council and is the current Cathaoirleach of Offaly County Council, and has been a county councillor since 2009 and is a former leader of Renew Ireland. And joining us for the first time on the Councillors Caucus is Councillor Ger Sheehan of Aintu, who is a member of Fingal County Council. Ger is one of 8 councillors Aintu has across the country, and he was first elected in June 2024. Can you all hear me? Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's a busy time with at local county council level, and John, you're currently Cathaoirleach of Offaly County Council, and you're also in the throes of budget season for county council. What's been coming up on Offaly County Council over the last little while, and I'm sure some of the things that Michael has said there are probably coming up in Offaly as well.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, you're dead right, and thanks, Michael, for the heads up on what's coming down the tracks on the dereliction and between the levies and the taxes. Yeah, so I'll be keeping an eye on that as well, Michael. I'll be supporting anything that I see coming through in terms of the motions that you put down as well. Yeah, the budget, I suppose, is the big thing for at the moment. I suppose it's Cathaoirleach. I'm probably just coordinating various meetings between the political parties and non-parties, just to see that we may get a smooth transition when it comes to passing the budget on the 17th of November. Michael touched on the local property tax, and I suppose it has been a huge bone of contention with, I suppose, a lot of the rural county councils, in terms of the government gives us an option you can go minus 15% or plus 15%. Now, we've chosen to go 15% over the last 2 or 3 years. It's yielding us a huge benefit in terms of match funding we can draw down on. So from that point of view, we're kind of well past that hurdle, Michael. We've floated the boat on that one, and we've taken the hard hit on it in the media, and we've got through it. But I think it was the right call in terms of what is leveraging for us. I suppose what we're at the moment, Paul, we're looking at a controversial thing at the moment. We haven't raised the rates in Offaly since 2008, the commercial rates, and we're looking at maybe putting in provisions for a 5% increase. But we're trying to be clever about this in some respects and not hit the small guy. So what we're doing is we're looking at anyone that under 5,000 won't be affected, and then maybe after a certain threshold, then they won't be affected if they pay up the rates in time with that 5% levy. And then anyone that the bigger operators, then we're looking at maybe tackling them. We have a lot of, say, big energy companies that are in Offaly now, renewable sides of it. So we're maybe looking at maybe getting a small bit more of a dividend back in their coffers. But but we're lucky in Offaly. The finances are fairly steady. The big hit for us has been the winding down of Boardamona. That has probably seen a kind of a 1.7 million loss in our rates. But the department is subsidising that at the moment for the time being. But it's not in permanent it's not in permanent fixture in our budget. In the fact that the department are saying, listen, we know you're down 1.7 because of decarbonisation, 1.7 million because of decarbonisation. We're going to just keep that in your. We're going to give that to you for next couple of years. I think it's just kind of like, thank you very much. You've been good boys down in Offaly. We'll keep it going, but there's nothing permanent in the budget in retaining that 1.7 million. But I suppose then touching on the renewable side of it, since we met last, we're all familiar in every county. We're all familiar in terms of looking at the wind turbines that have come up in our landscape over the last maybe 8 to 10 years. We have 550 megawatt of wind energy in Offaly, which probably equates to somewhere around maybe 10 or 15% that were producing back to the national grid. Now, Offaly was always an energy supplier. We had the peat extraction, which kept the power plants going. So we're just going into renewables now. So it's a kind of a nice fit for us. We'd have a lot of bogland. We'd have maybe 100 hectares of bogland throughout Offaly, whereby it would just solely, you know what I'm saying, just suitable for the likes of wind turbines. But what the point I'm getting to Paul and Michael and Garrod is something that might stir something in your local authorities or anybody that's tuning in and listening to this, is that there's a community gain fund when these big energy companies come in and they start putting in massive infrastructure, to have what they call a community gain fund. And now there's a near neighbour, so naturally enough, the near neighbour gets compensated for this disruption and this some people think it's unsightly, and this, you know, say noise or whatever the case may be with a wind turbine in close proximity. But there is an element of that goes back to the community. And what we're finding is, with the amount of wind energy projects that we're taking on, that the money's not being spent. Now we're talking about millions and millions of euros here. Like with what we've in the pipeline and what we have given planning permission for in Offaly already, we reckon that there's probably going to be 50 million of a pot over the next 20, 25 years that's going to be sitting there in this so-called community gain fund. But what's happening is the energy companies are coming and giving sponsoring a club down the road, jerseys, €3,000, scoreboard, €5,000. But that's all they're getting out of it. And this money is lying in this fund. And what we're afraid of is that the energy companies will come at a period of time and say, but should we give everything to the communities? We've X amount left. We should allow to be repurposed back into the business. So what we're trying to do is, in Offaly, we got consultants in, and we got them to look at the whole landscape in terms of what's happening in Offaly, in terms of what we're generating in megawatts, what potentially is the community fund, and how best to use that community fund. So what we're doing now is we want to set up an economic development group within the local authority, within the communities, kind of a joint kind of partnership between the community and the local authority. And we want that money to filter into that, so we can buy more land for enterprise parks. We can service more lands for enterprise parks. We can give kind of finance to maybe businesses that are out there, and then maybe look after the community in a more meaningful way. Because we just feel that the money is not being utilised. Like we've lost 800-900 jobs in the last maybe 4 or 5 years in Bournemouth. They're not being replaced. They're being replaced by wind turbines and solar panels, solar farms, but they're not being replaced by physical people on the ground. So we want to use this fund to create something tangible in Offaly. And I think it's going to hit every county that has the likes of these projects. And I think if we don't consolidate the money, bring it back into some shape or form into a kind of a centralized pot, and then redistribute it back throughout in a meaningful way, I think it's going to be it's something that's going to be lost. And what's going to happen is the companies will turn around to the government or the minister of the day and say, well, listen, we tried to give the money to the communities, we gave them this, we gave them that, but they won't be getting rid of it, the vast amount that needs to be got rid of, and as again, I keep saying this, in a meaningful and tangible way. So that's kind of the big thing, Paul, that we're working on at the moment. We met with the 3 TDs that we have in our county, and basically what we put we've marked a card to say that we want a meeting with the minister in January. We would present this consultation report, and we want to set this body up, and we want him to, and literally this all it is, with a flick of a pen, he could change the policy on this, that this could be actually happen within the local authority, and then we'd start seeing money start flowing, I think, in a better way. So that's really, sorry about the long-winded end of it, but I think it's a big thing for the counties that are going to have big infrastructural projects where there's a community gain associated with it.
County councillors, they are powerhouse within our democracy here in Ireland, because so much, you know, when something happens, let's say at the high government level, it's the county councillors that have to deal with the impact of it, be it good or bad, on the ground, So I think the roles of county councillor is totally kind of maybe not given the full recognition that it should, and that's what we're here trying to do here on the Irish political round. Well, I'd like to say a big thank you to Councillor John Leahy, who's also Cathaoirleach of Offaly County Council, to Councillor Michael Sheehan of Wexford County Council, and to County Councillor on Fingal Council, Ger Sheehan. Thank you very much for taking the time to lecture us here on the Irish Political Roundup. And I'd like to say thank you to my colleague Roisin Ní Cleric, who unfortunately couldn't be with us this evening. I'd like to say thank you to our viewers for taking the time to sit down and watch us here on the Irish Political Roundup. It's always great to hear your feedback, and it's always brilliant for you to take the time to check out what's happening on the Irish political scene. So from me, Paul Brophy, have a great evening, and we will talk soon.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Paul.